All right, if you just joined us, this is still Enterprise Friday on Enterprise TV. Now to our main conversation for today. Following the demand of 100 million naira ransom for the release of the Ekiti kidnapped victims by the abductors, efforts by the community to meet the demand rather of the kidnappers appeared to have hit the rock. It was disclosed that the community and families of the victims were only able to raise a paltry sum of 450,000 naira, which has been increased to 3 million naira, which is still a far cry from the 100 million naira ransom being demanded by the kidnappers, which has been reduced also to 15 million naira. However, just like we did say, a developing story has it that the kidnappers have reduced the ransom to 15 million naira, but threatened to kill the school children should the parents fail to pay ransom on them as quickly as possible. It will be recalled that the school children were abducted on the same day gunmen killed 2 Ekiti monarchs, while the third person narrowly escaped. To do justice to our main story today, I have with me in the studios Dr. Olayinka Oyegbile. He is a communicator and also a public affairs analyst. Doctor, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Friday today.
Yeah.
It's nice having you. So Doctor, this is a big story that has made so much headline news in dailies, and it's really not a good story. But the question I have today is, why is it that over the years with issues like kidnapping in Nigeria, we often have seen from the police that is more of a reactive measure from their part than a proactive one?
Well, for every action there is a reaction. I also think that our system of recruiting and training of our security agencies are very deficient. And apart from that, government itself is not serious about tackling all these issues. As I spoke the other day, I said the other day, Nigerians were subjected to harrowing experiences when we were asked to register our SIM. That if you register your SIM, calls made, they will be able to trace them and so on. You see people almost sleeping at those communication offices to go and register because they don't want their line to be cut off and all that. But what has happened to them? These kidnappers, they make calls to the family of the victims.
Registered calls.
Exactly. So, how do they make this call that we can't find out that, okay, they are making this call in so forest or wherever, and then the security agents can at least get to the place, map the place, and get to the place.
Concentrate the attention on that particular situation.
And it's very surprising that rather than face such things, the National Assembly, I think the last National Assembly passed a resolution that people should not pay ransom again.
Yeah, no, that we should stop crowdfunding ransom.
No, this one that even the current National Assembly that talked about that no crowdfunding, the past assembly said people should no longer pay ransom. And I asked, if a family member has been kidnapped, we saw what happened in Abuja, how they killed one of them. So you now have such a family that have 6 members kidnapped not to pay ransom? No, they won't. They won't listen to you. Rather than criminalize the victims, it is our security system that we need to gear up. Why is it that people kidnap and they are never, the kidnappers call every day and they are never found out? You cannot do this in other countries, I believe.
So are you insinuating that if there's a complicit motive from our security?
It's either there's complicity or there is laxity. Because there's no way as an individual, you may not be able to go to a communication company to say that you want to have a communication record of a particular number. But security agencies can do that.
True.
So, in that wise, why is it that we have not been able to get a face to those who are the kidnappers? Because when we always know, when they arrest some people, they look scruffy and you have are these people demanding millions of naira? Are these people the same people who are getting this money? If they are not the ones that you have arrested, did they mention who was behind them? In Lagos, we have the case of what's that guy doing now? Stefan or what?
Yeah.
We have that in his case. How has it ended? We don't know now. So all I want to say is that the government must rev up its security, as they say, architecture, because we always like all this big grammar and coining words without meaning. The government must make sure that our security agencies are well equipped and encouraged, because it is another thing to equip them, it is another thing to encourage them, because in a situation where suspects have been arrested and they are not being tried very well, their trial is allowed to go on for too long, that will discourage those who are working. So the government must make sure that we rev up our security apparatus in a way, and the judicial system also, to make sure that when these people are arrested, they are brought to justice, and everybody knows and sees that they have been brought to justice. Because the way it is, people have been arrested, they will parade them on TV, wear their name on radio, publish their picture and everything in newspapers and online. After some time, everything fizzles out. You won't hear it again. So we must be able to be, we must see that these people have been punished. Because, okay, now, everybody is crying, the country is hard, this country is hard. Kidnap people, ask for 100 million. Why will they get 100 million? If those people have all the 100 million that the kidnappers are demanding for, will they have been able to kidnap them? They won't live where they were living. They won't be open to such risk. So, but it is because these kidnappers, they know that when they ask for money and they make threats, they will get it. Look, you know, the issue of kidnapping for ransom, if I remember very well, it started in Italy. In those days, Aldomoro. It's a very long story where they kidnapped and they were asking for ransom. Things were not as advanced as they are now, but they were caught in the long run. So now that this thing has become a worldwide, in fact, well, maybe Nigeria-wide, because I don't hear so much of it happening in other places. We must come in. It started in the Niger Delta in Nigeria. And at that time, it was even foreign oil that were kidnapping because they felt they had enough. Exactly. But now, it has become a national problem. People traveling. In fact, the worst one now is that in Abuja. Before, you will be traveling on the lonely road, they will lay you and kidnap. But now they go into homes to go and kidnap people to come out. There's a saying that your house is your last refuge. True. So what it means now is that even your house is not safe. So when everything is happening, people run into their houses and feel safe. But now, armed robbers, big kidnappers come into homes and pick people as if they are picking potatoes on the farm. Very, very it's frightening.
Now let's look at what we, just like what you have said, we have seem to have localized kidnapping in Nigeria. And I want us to draw a connect between kidnapping and the poverty or the economic downturn in our system. Yes, I agree that the case of morality is also there, but let's join this fact of kidnapping as it relates to the economic downturn. And the reason I am raising this question is what we have currently on the news, which says that the kidnappers have reduced the ransom from 100 million naira to 15 million naira. Which shows that, of course, whoever these people are doing it because they want to save their lives. They want a little bit of the loot, not as much as they expected. Don't you think there is a very good connection between kidnapping, localized kidnapping in Nigeria, and the economic downturn like experienced today in our country?
Well, you see, as much as I may want to agree with you, but I always believe that, as our people say, when they say that get a man drunk, and he will tell you the peace of his mind. If you get a man drunk, and whatever he tells you, it is not the drunkenness that provoked it. It is what he has in his mind that he maybe did not have the courage to say earlier. So, for people to say that it is the poor economy that is pushing people into crime, well, they may have their point. But I also believe that poor economy, if our law and our security agencies are doing their job very well, will not as blossom as it has now. Because, yes, everybody is crying, but you find out that even the people that are usually the victims are usually also the poor. We have never heard that a legislator, or the child of a legislator, or a governor, or a child of a governor, or a child of a rich man has been kidnapped. Because they are what they found in that. Exactly. So it was like what happened in South Africa, black on black violence. So it is poor on poor now. That's what is happening. Exactly. Because how can you kidnap somebody and expect that? I mean, maybe the person that was even kidnapped does not eat well. So where in the family, where would they get that big ransom money?
So it's a case of poor abductors kidnapping poor victims.
Exactly. And I think that, in all honesty, for anybody to claim that it is poverty that pushed him or her to crime does not hold water. Because, look, the energy you deploy into kidnapping, you can deploy it to do something more noble that you can tell people. Look, I tell people, there was a day I went to the market and there was this young man. He was following me about as I was buying things. Daddy, please give me something to eat. Daddy, please give me something to eat. And I looked at him. I told him, I said, young man, can you see that woman? He said, yes. It was an elderly woman. The elderly woman was helping people to carry things to their car and getting paid. I said, go and do something like that. He looked at me and he's like he didn't. He thought that it was too much to do that kind of thing. I said, I'm sorry. I work to get this money. I cannot give it to you free like that. You must work to make money. People, there are things that people can do. They will make little money, and even in the process of doing that, they will get something better. I've seen a situation where the same thing I'm telling you now, in the same market, in this local market in Lagos, a young girl was always going to the market to carry load. So this woman was always using this girl. And one day, I asked her, and her spoken English was good. So, Why are you always here? Why are you always here? You can speak good English. Why don't you go to school? She said she's going to school. Then what are you doing here? She said she's coming here to get money to register for JAMB and WAEC. And the woman looked at her, are you serious? Which school do you attend? You got all the details and we went to the school. She saw that yes, she was really. Had this woman paid for her? That day, the last time I had, she's in the university now.
Wow.
So if she didn't go to the market to do what people consider as manual job and so on, would she have gotten that? So when we talk of the country being hard, there's no food, there are little things people can do rather than turn to crime.
Exactly.
Must everybody turn to crime because the country is hard? No. People must think of what they can do. You can go to a market. Look, the people leave Nigeria and go abroad to go and wash toilets and wash dead body. But they won't do it here. Rather than do that, they want to go into crime. They want to go into 419, they want to go into Yahoo and all that. So I think what we need to talk about now is, yes, the country is hard. We are all contributors to it. Politicians more contributed more, but we also in our own little corner contributed. So everybody must put his hand on the deck and ready to work.
All right, so let's talk about checkmating the tide of insecurity in Nigeria. And we're beginning to see other agencies coming to join the official security architecture that we have in Nigeria. As it stands today, communities and states have been able to recruit 50,000 vigilantes to assist the police in order to curb the issue of insecurity in Nigeria. But it's very important to remember that the 50,000 people that have been recruited will not be as armed as the Nigerian police or the Nigerian military. Now, how far will that go to checkmating issues of kidnapping with people, abductors who are heavily armed as much as our military?
Well, you see, the first thing about security is vigilance. Most of us, we are not very vigilant enough. You see suspicious people in neighborhood, you say, oh, it's not my concern. I don't know them. I will not talk. And then the issue of forming all this vigilance group is a very good one, but we must also be careful not to form groups that will later on turn around to unleash violence on innocent people. Because Nigeria, we see a situation where people begin to use their power. As Fela will say, everybody gets in power. Omalanke pusher, he gets in power. So when you empower people, it gets into their head. The military people or the policeman that stands by the roadside to oppress innocent drivers, it's not because he has the uniform. So we must begin to look at how do we make sure that we have a situation where people will not use their position to oppress others. And to do this, I honestly think most times we blame government for things that are maybe out of the purview of government. For instance, I've said this several times, and I am not always afraid, or I'm not always feeling bad to say it again. In all fairness, sometimes government has made some rules to make it easy for you to do some things. For instance, the issue of getting your driver's license or international passport. Why is it? What is the security chip that is in the driver's license that is more than your ATM card? If you lose your ATM card now, all you need to do is to walk into a branch of your bank and tell them that we have lost your ATM card. And then they will deactivate it and almost immediately issue you another one.
True.
You want to get a driver's license. They've taken all your templated fingerprint and all that. Go to your system, pay how much it is, print it out, and go and show them as evidence that you have paid. That is all. But when you get to the FRSC, they will tell you it has not dropped. When you get to the immigration office, they will tell you it has not dropped. I don't understand what they mean by it has not dropped. That means they have not seen it. So the government has done all that. But when you lose your ATM card, what the government is to go there and tell them it's the same thing with the American visa or the UK visa. And if you have got your 10 fingerprints done once, you don't need to go back again. All you need to do is to sit down by your system, fill in your details, get an interview date, or if it is job box as the Americans have it. Then you attach your recent passport. The recent passport is so that we can use it for your visa they want to issue. But in Nigeria, we make all these things difficult. As if it is some rocket science, as they say. Why is it that we, as citizens, the man who defrauded you yesterday, on Sunday or on Friday, will go to church or mosque and thank God that God has blessed him. Who are we deceiving? We are deceiving ourselves. We are not deceiving God. So, as human beings or as Nigerians, we must also make sure that we have a change of attitude. It's not everything that is government. Government has its own bad side, but we as citizens, we also need to do our part.
Very, very true. Very, 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 very true. Well, I would love to thank you, Dr. Olayinka Oyebile, for being part of our program today. But we'll still love to beg that you still be with us for our next conversation. And of course, when we return, what must we do to deliver the Naira from the clutches of free fall? That in a bit when we come back, it's still Enterprise Friday. Please don't go anywhere.